Now on BBC News, a roundup of the day's sporting action, plus talking points, analysis and original journalism. BBC Sport.
Hello, I'm Hugh Ferris at the BBC Sports Centre. Our top stories. Vinicius has the final word. His goal seals passage for Real Madrid into the Champions League last 16. Co-host Sri Lanka are out of the T20 World Cup. The batters fail again as they lose to New Zealand. And one more and she's done. Katie Taylor announces she'll retire after a homecoming fight in Dublin. Hello again, welcome along. It was a night in the Champions League that the holders went through. There were two Italian comebacks, one ultimately successful, another not quite. While a week after being the victim of alleged racist abuse, Vinicius Junior helped Real Madrid make the last 16. Leading 1-0 against Benfica after the Brazilians' goal in the first leg last week, it was the Portuguese side who took the lead on the night in the Bernabeu. But 2 minutes later, Real were level and ahead in the tie again. Aurelien Tchouameni with the equaliser. Then, with 10 minutes to go, Vinicius broke through to confirm his team's place in the last 16. Elsewhere, Atalanta provided the successful comeback of the night. 2-0 down from the first leg. They wiped out Borussia Dortmund's advantage before eventually needing a last-minute penalty to seal a 4-3 aggregate win. Juventus nearly went one better. 5-2 became 5-5, with Juve leading 3-0 against Galatasaray in Turin, despite being down 10 men for most of the second half. But Victor Osimhen and Baris Yilmaz scored in extra time to send the Turkish side into the last 16. And despite conceding first in the second leg against Monaco, holders PSG made it through 5-4 on aggregate after a 2-2 draw in Paris. Well, that win for Real Madrid came against a Benfica team without Gianluca Prestiani after they were unable to overturn the midfielder's one-match provisional suspension for alleged racial abuse. Prestiani was accused by Vinicius Junior during the first leg between the two teams last week. In Lisbon, the Argentine denies the allegation he used a racial slur, but in advance of an official investigation, UEFA imposed the provisional ban before the second match in Madrid on Wednesday night.
Gianluca Prestiani had travelled to Madrid with the hope that he could play. He was in the squad train yesterday, but UEFA said no, this provisional one-match ban stays because that's what UEFA have done. To give themselves time to prepare a case, by the sounds of it, after one match ban against Prestiani, that case will grow and then there will be a punishment. That's what we all expected. Quite clearly, UEFA wants to make a case by being strong on this situation. And FIFA, Infantino, the head of FIFA, has said, we completely understand Vinny. So this is not a Vinny case. This is a society case, a football case, one in which we hope that football gets it right.
So 4 more teams will take their place in the draw for the last 16 on Friday. Alongside them, the competition's surprise team, Bodø Glimt. They are the first club from Norway to win a Champions League knockout tie, and they did so impressively with their 2-1 win at Inter Milan, completing home and away victories over last year's finalists and the 3-time champions. The team from the Arctic Circle have also beaten Manchester City and Atletico Madrid in this season's competition.
I'm still sort of ingesting the result. It's a little hard to believe at times that a town of 50,000 people can produce a team that can go toe-to-toe with these big teams. But we've seen it time and time and again through this run and through previous UEFA competitions. It's just the level of buy-in from the players to the system that we run is phenomenal. And we couldn't be more proud of the boys. Just seeing the reactions from the people today, people coming into the stadium, people coming into the club store, just the joy on the faces. I mean, it's why you do it. It's to make those nights and those experiences for people. If we weren't doing that, I mean, why bother? We all sort of believe in this ethos of performance is the only thing that matters, not result. So, I mean, if you go back and look at any sort of post-match interview with Kjetil Knutsen, our coach, he will never say the word win. It's always performance, performance, performance.
FIFA President Gianni Infantino says he's confident that the current unrest in Mexico won't jeopardise matches there at the World Cup. There's been an outbreak of drug-related violence in the state of Jalisco following the killing of Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho, leader of a drugs cartel. The state capital is Guadalajara, which will host 4 World Cup games as well as 2 playoff matches next month. The Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, has also given assurances that there will be no risk to supporters.
México es un gran país, es un país de fútbol.
Mexico is a great country, a country of football. Like every country in the world, it has problems. We don't live on the moon or on another planet. Bad things happen. That's why we have governments. That's why we have police, authorities who are going to guarantee order and security. So on my part, on behalf of FIFA, we have absolute confidence in President Sheinbaum. We are in regular contact with the Mexican government and authorities, and we are continuing to monitor the situation.
Manchester United's debt is now approaching £1.3 billion, but the club have announced a profit in their most recent financial accounts. After making a loss in the same period 12 months ago, United's profit was more than £30 million for the second half of 2025. It follows rounds of redundancies and other cost-cutting implemented by minority owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe. The United chief executive, Omar Barada, says the club are reaping the positive impact of our off-pitch transformation. Sri Lanka are out of the T20 World Cup. They're co-hosting with another limp defeat in the Super 8 stage, this time to New Zealand in Colombo, that sealed their fate. They lost despite establishing a strong position with the ball, reducing the Black Caps to 84 for 6 before an 84-run partnership between Mitchell Satner and Cole McConkie helped New Zealand set Sri Lanka a target of 169. But their batters also had a bad start, one from which they could not recover. Matt Henry getting a wicket with the first ball of each of his first 2 overs. And then 2 stumpings in 3 balls off the bowling of Rachin Ravindra left Sri Lanka 29 for 4, eventually finishing 61 runs short on 107 for 8. Well, New Zealand stay in the hunt for a semi-final spot, which they will hope to achieve from their Super 8 group, alongside England, who became the first side through to the last 4 on Tuesday. Their crucial victory over Pakistan was built on a first T20 international century for Harry Brook, the skipper who has been under a lot of scrutiny of late for both his poor Ashes form and also his off-field behaviour. With more, here's our reporter Henry Moran.
There was a lot of pressure on him coming into this tournament because of everything that had gone on. England's underperformance notwithstanding during that huge Ashes series. So Brook is somebody who, part of the joy of interviewing him is you know that he's going to give frank answers, and what he says in very few words tends to be a lot more revealing than certain interviews one could do with slightly more verbose candidates who don't necessarily reveal an awful lot. So he's a very interesting, honest individual when he speaks to the media, and he has spoken about the fact that he needs to go out there and that he felt pretty dreadful after everything that had gone on, and he wanted to perform for his country, and he's done that in this game last night. And look, it's a Super 8s match at a T20 World Cup where England's fate wouldn't be decided by that one game, but the performance, it felt like a real marquee performance from somebody who proved again that he could be a generational talent for this England side.
Now, only Max Verstappen, Lance Stroll and Kimi Antonelli have raced in Formula One at a younger age than Arvid Lindblad, who'll drive for Racing Bulls when the season starts next month. The 18-year-old is, however, the youngest British competitor in the sport, but he's just as proud to represent his parents' heritage.
My dad's from Sweden. He's born and brought up in Sweden. My mum is from the UK, but her parents are from India. They're from the Punjab region. They grew up there and lived there for a big part of their lives. So I have quite a diverse mix. It's quite a rare combination. But yeah, I'm very proud of my heritage. All 3 parts have really shaped me to who I am today.
Irish boxer Katie Taylor has confirmed she will retire after a farewell fight in Dublin later in the year. Taylor is a 2-weight undisputed world champion who hasn't fought since she won her trilogy fight with Amanda Serrano in New York last July. The opponent, date and venue for Taylor's final fight have not yet been finalised. Meanwhile, the world heavyweight champion Fabio Wardley says he will flatten his opponent in the first defence of his title. It's an all-British encounter with Daniel Dubois, who's attempting to become the world champion again. Wardley won the interim WBO belt, which was then upgraded after it was vacated by Alexander Usyk, while Dubois is a former IBF champion whose last fight was a heavy defeat to the Ukrainian. It's a meeting of two of the division's biggest punchers in Manchester in May.
I rate him very highly, and that's the reason I picked him as an opponent. Like you say, it's a voluntary, which means I had my pick of the litter, I had my choice, and I picked him out. I chose him because, look, I looked at the roster, I looked at the list of names, and I said, that's the best name on the list. That's the best fighter out there. That's the best fighter available. He's the one I'm going to get the most credit for in terms of taking that scalp and taking that win. And I think, as evidenced by my career as a whole, I'm not one to take the easy route.
Much more on our website, of course, including from Fabio Wardley, in fact, and his opponent. And if you're in the UK, you can watch all the Champions League goals. There's been plenty of them. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.